I never understood the magnitude of the Holocaust until I was able to see it in one man's eyes.
I see the flames, I see the crematoriums of Auschwitz burning. I see the people walking in, I see my family walking in. I see them walking in the crematorium and burning. I see their faces, I see their hands reaching, and I cannot help them.
Did your faith, your Catholic faith, give you a certain depth of spiritual understanding in your approach to shooting it, editing it, and relating to the men?
My faith gives me a sense of looking for things that are important on a spiritual level versus material things.
The moment approaches when the Birkenau Boys will set foot on the very grounds where the ashes of their loved ones lay.
All of a sudden I realized the magnitude of this, and I prayed constantly that we would make the right decisions, because when these guys got off the bus to go to Auschwitz, 36 guys spread out in different directions, and we were able to, follow the right people.
Is there anything about the Catholic faith that brings you closer to this spiritual connection?
Yeah, I mean, any Catholic knows that their foundation is in Judaism, and I have just as much regard for the Jewish foundation as I do for the Catholic foundation, because I know that the Torah is the foundation of the New Testament. So I feel like akin to the people who are Jewish, and because Jesus was Jewish.
Do you feel there was a turning point in the men trusting and accepting you? After all, I mean, they didn't trust the world, let alone anyone outside of their own faith, to understand this, and yet they embraced you, and took you in. They took us into their inner circle, and in some cases, especially you. What do you think enabled them to trust you as a Catholic person coming into this?
I think they didn't see me as a Catholic, but as someone. I mean, I understood that they were going to be guarded, but I genuinely cared about them, that they trusted me with their story, and they could tell when someone's being genuine and someone is just making it up. So I mean, I really did care, and I wanted to know, and I appreciated what they were telling me, and I really feel close to those guys still, and you can't fake something like that, and they know that.
And when Mengele selected us here, we walked to the gate, and our parents went after us, after the 90 children, and there was the place in the middle of it, before the gate a little bit, and Walter wanted to run back. And I grabbed him, and I told him, Walter, you have to go with me. I don't know what will be, but we are going together.
If you can see through one person what the Holocaust was about, then you could understand the large Holocaust. Because if you try to look at the big picture, you're going to get lost. I really had to pray that each time before we got to a certain segment that we would put it together the best way we knew how. And the reason I did that was because out of regard for who these people were, and they shared their deepest feelings with us, and we had the responsibility to tell the story right.
What do you think about the Pope's asking for forgiveness? How do you approach this whole issue? I mean, we covered the Pope last summer. We actually met him.
I love this Pope. I mean, I think this Pope is a terrific spiritual man, and he is a lot more spiritual than I am, and so I really trust his judgment, and I know that when he does things, he does them out of love and sensitivity. So when he apologizes, I know it's because he thinks there will be some healing coming from it. That's how I feel about this Pope. He's got tremendous integrity, and even being in his presence, I can feel the integrity of this man and the spirituality of him.
At one point, you wanted to push to have our documentary distributed by the Catholic Church. What would be the reason behind that?
I think, again, it's to break down barriers.
My wish is that somehow the newer generation will learn something from us and will not repeat that same horrible thing.
Our mission should be to realize how ridiculous the barriers are between Christian and Jew and work to break them down.